Alright, here we go with the next UU. This is episode 69. Nice. And we're going on one. 3, 2, 1. With a number like this better be a great episode. When people have home court advantage, you need to watch how you move and operate. And they didn't do that. Well, you shouldn't necessarily take what they say at face value. I would be cautious, but I was also suspicious that it was a bluff, right? So I don't think it was idiotic to test it, right? I probably wouldn't have tested it, but I don't think it was stupid, right? Like, and then he didn't say that, but he kind of implied it, right? Like, this is not a day to be just for whatever the hell it was he said. Yep, he's wrecked. At least now we know for sure, because you can't necessarily take what these assholes say at face value. It's one goddamn word. Like, how much trouble is it to avoid that word? He's a dork. He probably cheats. I still think you cheat. That's not really impressive. If you're good at literature, you're going to be good at language. Yeah, it's really warm. Cool. So you don't mind if I get naked so, I'm more comfortable. That's okay, right? Really? I don't know if I'd trust that, but, you can't hit him, but can you piss on him? That's the first time anybody's ever said that. Yeah. Hey, not really. That's weird. That's like secondhand kissing, isn't it? He didn't say hot, did he? I didn't catch that. Is there a second trigger word? He is. Here she goes. Does the word change? No, okay. For a second, I thought the word changed every time somebody says it. Like I said, though, I knew he was a cheater. There's just something about him. There's just something about him. You couldn't trust it. Well, that's the truth. He cheated. He cheated, man. It's that simple. You can't trust this sumbitch. You could have went back faster than this. That you wasting our time for. Yeah, it's cheating. It's that simple. Yeah, I didn't think he said it. No. No, that's cheating. That's bullshit. Like I said, cheating. That's clever writing, by the way. That's not what I'm saying. It's very clever writing. I'm saying he's a cheater and you can't trust his so much. You're gonna have to. They should have just not talked, right? Like I know that's Monday morning quarterbacking. You gotta figure out what this son bitch wants. I think he must have been the target all along. Yeah. Now that I don't know how the hell he did that. That's cheating too. How the hell did he do that? Oh shit. That's also clever. Exactly. Yep, and it was very slow and creepy too. I bet he was sneaking around. Point and counterpoint. Uh oh. Excellent. And if you don't get it in 45 minutes, you lose, right? Obviously. Those are the only stakes that would matter, right? Uh huh. We'll see whose idea it is. There's a letter you can't say. What? I would lose at this. The author spent untold hours working on this. Because, be able to do this and have them actually talk and avoid the letters and make sure you didn't miss a letter that they can't say. You had to pour over this for hours. And you had the whole thing mapped out, all the dialogue, broken up in time periods where you're losing letters and stuff. I'm just trying to imagine the amount of work that went into writing this. Because that's what you have to do as a writer. The audience never sees that work. They don't see that work. Now, it's possible he had somebody do all this for him. I would, because I'm terrible at this kind of shit. You could have an assistant just work this all out, and then you maybe tweak it if you need to, right? But that's whoever did it. That is a shit ton of work we're talking about here. You have 104 seconds, right? Is he just not going to talk? And by not talking, he'll force him to say something stupid, right? All right, there we go. Wait, is it A? Why did it say A? He likes playing. See, this is why he's going to lose. Okay, I don't know. Yeah, they're confusing me because they're using English letters, but it's clearly not what's happening, right? So I think this is a translation issue. So I'm not going to obsess over that part. Yep. You can't be lusty anymore without S. Thank you for that contribution to this plot. Yeah. I'm not really into word games, I'll be honest with you. I've never liked that form of humor and those kind of riddles and puzzles and stuff. It's never been my thing. But I like how they're doing this. This is clever, man. In other words, don't talk or you lose yours. He didn't know that, did he? Yeah, the laugh might be it. He thinks he can delay it because he's using the bathroom and shit, and he can delay, take some time off the clock. Because Red is he's working against the clock here. Right, that's the thing, right? I can't figure out what he was playing this. Exactly. Oh boy, just got it. He got you somehow. But he would have struggled or said something. You would have heard that. He waited for you to go in the bathroom. Yeah, look at the body there. Yeah. Did he? Where are the souls? Are they just hanging out by the chair? You can't get back in, bitch. He's not playing by the rules. I mean, he is, but he's not. You know what I mean? He's not playing by the spirit of the rules. I'm a big believer in the spirit of the rules, but like in this situation, F this guy. F the spirit of the rules. He's gonna make you say something. You're gonna talk. All it takes is one mistake, one slip up. It's all in his head, right? We don't even know where we're at with the game now, right? Do you know what letters you've lost and what you haven't? You're not keeping track anymore. You will say something. He had this all planned out before he even started the game. Red, you know. I assume in the manga this is all thought bubbles, right? Do they do thought bubbles? They must in manga. They must. In the American comic tradition, it's just three, little bubbles go up to a big bubble. You will say something. How much time's left? 3 minutes? Oh, look at him up there. Well, he can't do violence, so it's not like he can jump on you and make you scream. He will make you talk. I don't know how. Can he tickle you? A plant come up and tickle him? A jump scare, maybe? He's gonna do a jump scare. Now you can't do anything, right? 1 minute and 40 seconds. I don't get it. He's gonna laugh. He made a funny face. Is that what it is? Okay. I guess he made a funny face. I don't know why that would work. I'll take the win, but I don't get it. We'll take our souls back now. Thank you. You may watch. I guess it's all over, right? You don't need to worry about the word hot. Okay, gotcha. How did he get the other dude though? That's the question. Maybe he already predicted it. You would gently lift him up, gently lift down. You feel like you would have fought and screamed, right? Yep, he saved your ass. Yeah. We had to know the rules are real. It all worked out. That is, I like that. I guess they didn't show the face because there's no face they could have shown that would have made us believe it was funny, right? Yeah, what is going on down there? That's a fair assessment. Three jerks. So we're not counting Botan? I guess, yeah, she doesn't really do shit, so I guess you wouldn't include her, would you? Good shit. I gotta say, that's probably the most clever. How do we label this? I don't know if we'd say puzzle. I've seen some pretty damn clever puzzles in writing. Stargate SG-1 had a couple. The problem was they did a couple really good ones, and then then people really liked them, and so they kept trying to do them, and they got progressively more lame, right? So that kind of drags it down a little bit. The Da Vinci Code had a couple clever puzzles, probably more so in the book because they had more time to explore it and explain it than they did in the movies, right? But I don't know. I don't know if we call it a puzzle because it's also a game, right? And it's and there's a ticking clock involved. We'll call it a situation. It's one of the more clever situations which I know had to have taken hundreds of hours of work unless you had something if you already had it played out somehow. Like, for instance, say this scenario was in a novel from the 60s or 1960s. And you just take it, you take their work and you adapt it to your own thing. Which, and then you may create a totally new situation, and maybe, there wouldn't be magic involved, maybe in the old example of this. It could just be a word game two kids are playing, and he adapted. Unless he adapted it, then this took hundreds of hours of work to figure it out. And because you had to examine each line of dialogue, where they were in the timeline, and whether it broke any rules. If it did, you had to rewrite the words and stuff. And remember, it's the letters as well, which makes it even more complicated because I assume that rule held. No, it didn't because this is individual letters. The second game is individual letters. The first game is a word. So letters mattered in the first game, not the second game. Okay. Anyway, I respect the work ethic. I respect the work that went into this that we never see on screen. Most people don't even think about it. They just watch it and move on, right? I think about the amount of work it took. I think about like when people are doing stories and there's certain chemicals that have to be present on a planet for gunpowder to work, for instance. I think saltpeter is one of them. I don't really understand it, but I think there's certain chemicals you have to have on a planet, right? And so if you want to create a parallel reality, another Earth, where gunpowder never got invented because you want to keep it like Game of Thrones level. Because think about gunpowder, it's not just bullets, it's also dynamite and explosives, right? Just make it so that that one element is not present on that planet, whatever it is, saltpeter, whatever it is. Right? There's one element that's not present. And I tried to research this one time because I wanted to debunk a comment on the Song of Ice and Fire Reddit. Because they say it's ridiculous that nobody's invented gunpowder in Westeros in 10,000 years of evolution. It's ridiculous nobody's invented gunpowder. And I said, I know that there's an element. I spent several hours looking into it, trying to find exactly what it was, and because there's some elements that like have to exist for life to exist, right? So, and I finally gave up because it was taking too long, and I had other shit to do, and it wasn't worth finding that element for somebody who's just going to blow me off anyway on Reddit. You prove them wrong, and then they blow you off, so you haven't accomplished anything. But that told me right there, like if I was going to write a story, first you'd have to figure out when these 6 elements are required. That you have to have these 6 elements to invent gunpowder. Which one can we remove without life ending on Earth, right? Like you have to have certain elements for life to exist. And then you could even fold in a thing where like, all of our elements come from stars. So the first batch of stars right after the Big Bang didn't include life because you had to have a star blow up, a star be created, blow up. The process of blowing up creates the elements that then, when combined on a planet, create life. So, in other words, only the second generation of stars in the universe could have life on them because that first generation didn't have the elements yet. So we could say maybe that wouldn't work either because you have to have life. So, anyway, we could say it was like then the third generation of stars will have even more elements because each time that happens, you get more elements, right? But you see the kind of rabbit hole I'm talking about here. That's my point. Normally I would edit this out because it sounds like I'm rambling. But I'm coming to a point here. My point is the kind of rabbit holes you go down as a writer that the audience never sees. The audience has no idea how much work goes into some of this research just to make your shit make sense, right? Just hold up. I bet this held up. I bet, I'm not going to do it. But you could go through this episode with your pen and paper and diligently keep track of everything, and they didn't break the rules at any time. Because that's the work that went into this. So I respect the work ethic. I really do. I really respect the kind of work that goes in this kind of thing. Because, like I said, just something, okay, you can, as an author, you can say gunpowder can't be invented. Even if you don't tell them why gunpowder can't be invented, you need to make sure that the element you remove from that planet didn't prevent life from existing, because then somebody asks you at a convention, oh well, it was saltpeter. Well, life can't exist without saltpeter. I don't think it is saltpeter, by the way. Saltpeter may actually be composed of other elements, 3 or 4 elements that make saltpeter, and you just need to remove one of those 3 or 4, right? I think it goes down that far. So, like, my saltpeter thing is what I'm saying here is that the kind of rabbit you could spend days researching one line of dialogue. Gunpowder can't be invented here. That one line of dialogue could be 6 days of research and thinking and figuring out, wait a minute, okay, well, what if I do this? What if I do that? For it all to make sense. And that's why a lot of these writers, these authors out there, just say F it, You can't make gunpowder. I'm not going to explain why. Because they don't want to do the work. And so, yeah, those writers can do very good stories. I just have less respect for them. I have a lot of respect for writers who clearly do the work. And this is a mind-boggling puzzle. It's over my head. Like I said, I don't like word puzzles. I don't enjoy them. I don't like that kind of shit. We'd play all kinds of puzzles and games and riddles. As a kid, and these I never was any good at. I just can't conceptualize in my head. I can't hold the alphabet in my head in order and backwards. Say the alphabet backwards. Like that's supposed to be as a test to see if you're drunk. Say the alphabet backwards to prove you're not drunk. Just lock me up. I can't do it, man. I can't. It's something as simple as saying the alphabet backwards. I can't do it. I just can't hold those characters in my brain and mentally go through it in reverse, man. I can't do it. So, I'm just not good at that kind of shit. So I don't enjoy it, but I respect it. I respect how well written that was and how much time and effort actually went into that, because it was a lot. Now, here's a negative. I'm getting so sick of Boss Baby and Ogre, those scenes. And maybe you shouldn't have told me they weren't canon, because I think that probably has an impact. But I probably would have come to that conclusion anyway, because it's always summarizing what we're seeing. And they never give us anything new. They occasionally have clever jokes. I do laugh at them. Sometimes they're funny because that's their purpose. It's comedy relief. Most of the time, it's just you're just wasting screen time and you're wasting my time and you're removing tension. This was a very tense, exciting episode, and every time we cut away to the Boss Baby, it's like, oh man, I was so into it. Now we're doing this shit, and it's just it's wearing me down, man. It's just like it. It actually, one of the reasons why, it seems sometimes it takes me a while to get these episodes out, like it's later in the day or even the next day, or I only do 3. I'm sick of the Boss Baby shit. Like, I just, if they had an edit that removed all that shit, it would have no effect on the plot, and I would enjoy the series a lot more. So we're being honest here. Like, we're being honest with what we're experiencing. I'm never going to blow smoke up your ass. So that's where I'm at with this. But, fortunately, it's only ever a couple minutes. The scenes are like, 60 seconds, 90 seconds, sometimes even 30 seconds. It's not enough to where I'm just like, F this. But it definitely drags down my enjoyment. I don't know who that's for. Because I don't think this is a kid's show, but that is kid's show shit, It feels like maybe it's imposed by a network, or maybe the showrunner just thought it was awesome, because clearly these characters exist in the manga, right? Like, Boss Baby's there. I wonder if he's only ever just like a panel, maybe not even in every issue. He's a panel here, a panel there, gives the orders, and like probably when Fonzie came in, that was a real scene they adapted, I'm sure. Where he's like giving his decision, he tells what he wants, and so that's the kind of shit. Take that, and then make him all idiotic comedy relief. So I don't know, man, but yeah, Boss Baby aside, everything else about the show is really fun and really enjoyable, and I also like it's very subtle. He did not call Botan a jerk. Also, does that mean he doesn't think she's useful at all? Probably. But he doesn't consider her a jerk. So that's hilarious. So anyway, yeah. Another great batch of episodes.